Last week, drivers took on the modern-day definition of a tight track, with Johan van Hicks winning the GTOs, Christopher Lesniak creating an iRacing highlight, and Valenteus still waiting on top of the mountain for a rival. Today, the drivers head to an old-school classic and something tighter and scarier. So who will tame the big grid at Big Willow? You will see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello everyone, I am Craig King, and with me in the booth is Harry Burrows. In our booth is our director, Daniel Costello, and he will be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. The oldest continuous racetrack in America. Sadly, though, Willow Springs will close later this year for some needed renovation to the area, but it still remains a legend in America. So to find out what makes it tick, let's head over to our GSRC track guide, brought to us by Joe P.
Welcome to Willow Springs International Raceway. As the oldest permanent road course in the U.S., it holds a particular place of distinction among American motorsports fans. The circuit is just an hour and a half north of Los Angeles, and because of this, it has been used in various films and TV shows over the years. With only 9 turns over 2.5 miles, or just over 4 kilometers, you'd think it's a pretty simple affair. But the incredible camber, numerous elevation changes, and some diabolically fast corners means there's complexities here to keep drivers busy for years. The downside is that there are few heavy braking zones throughout the lap, and most are not in a straight line. Rabbits Ear and Turn 9 each require the driver to carry tremendous speed and aim for frighteningly late apexes. Meanwhile, the run past the Budweiser balcony all the way through the Monroe Ridge takes you on a roller coaster of rises and drops, all while dipping left and right with wild changes in banking. Sadly, there are few series that visit the track in present day, but it stays extremely active through club racing, driver coaching, and private test days. It has long been a favorite for both fans and drivers, and once you get onto the track, it'll be easy to see why.
It wouldn't be a Saturday without Joe Pete telling me how to do a racetrack in one of these fantastic tracks that we have out here in Willow Springs today. Howie, this is your first time here, but not your first time in Willow Springs. Tell everyone what we're expecting to see out here today.
Willow Springs age pretty much translates very much through to its track design, incredibly sweeping and incredibly challenging, but simple in so many other ways. You have a very tight hair-raising uphill all the way up the Budweiser balcony, which might test the best of the Audis as they use the best of their grip up the hill. As you come down the sweepers down the hill, though, it becomes GTP territory with a heavy downforce, allowing them to fly around the corners, whereas those Audis will search for all the grip on the track they possibly can. This is going to be a really challenging track for multiclass, and a really unique one that gets the best of each car in a very different place indeed. And we're going to find some difficult sends and people potentially getting held up in challenging areas, but if you can navigate the best of it, that's going to be what gets you the best results today.
Yeah, quite interesting to see earlier in the week. The speed difference catching a lot of drivers out at the sweeper, so expect to see a lot of issues out there today. But one thing that isn't an issue is our little championship going on today. And well, we had one round, but it's only fair to do it because there was a split, so it is going to have some interesting statistics here. Valenteus, as you know, leads the GTPs with Gardia right behind him. Lesniak will be third with the iRacing highlight. If you've not seen it on their socials, do check it out. Key name though in the top 10, Matthew Cockerham, winner of the second split last week. He will get 14 points. That allows him to still be up there in the top 10. Very nice to see that, and that's what we like when we see multiple splits. Ryan Ware, if I can get my words out, rounds out the top 10. GTOs, kind of similar boat when it comes to one race.
Well, there's far more points to play for this week with no split and a full 50-car grid. Last week, Van Hicks won the first race, scoring the 25 points to start the season, with Schuster and Brain behind. Plenty to play for with such a small points margin at the top. Cloud, Haycox, Richardson, Hamill Smith, Olmo, Bello, and Kresrick in the top 10. And with plenty more points going down the standings as well. It's very, very, very early to call, but all the points count, and today is going to be a very, very tight race with this many cars.
Yeah, all to play for still. Remember, we have drop week, but most importantly, it's round 2. And it's a 40-minute race as per usual. Open setup. Community can help you with a setup. You can make your own setup. Bring your own car. But if you crash it, you're done for the day. There's no spare car. You've got to keep yourself alert. And of course, drive through at 17 incidents. Disqualification at 25. That will come up for people today. I have known earlier in the hot splits this week, drivers getting disqualified, and it's safe to say it's those sweeping corners we talked about. The rabbit ear, the sweeper, no pun intended, are the corners we look out for today. So keep your eyes out there as we get ready to go into qualifying. Drivers still getting some lap times out there. Nicholas McCannos, first man to set a lap, well, the fastest lap when it comes to the GTPs, on 1 minute 0.732. Expect that to be blitzed maybe if a certain Valenteus gets onto it. GTOs still yet to set a lap time. We see them now starting to go around. Hadval will be the first one, and Seamus Power, sorry, I had to do a little check there. Seamus Power making the transfer to GTO this season.
Our first laps on the board for Audi's looking like they're going to be high at 115s from Mickey Friesen. It's going to be hard to keep it on the track around here with lots of understeer and oversteer all over the place. And as you mentioned with the disqualification count, I don't think it's just going to be the off-tracks. It could very much be some car contact as well. It's Olmo setting the fastest lap of the GTO so far. They're really going to get some good use out of the first half of this track and hang on for their dear life throughout the second half. Very much hoping that not too many laps get disqualified in this qualifying session, but some of these cars are really flying around here. We're having 1 minute lap times for our fastest GTPs. They're going to be going around this place so many times, they might just start to get a little bit dizzy.
Yeah, they might get a little bit frustrated. There might be some hot tempers out there today with such a big grid. Jack Wells comes across the line. He'll set his first lap. Well, he won't be setting his first lap because that was his out lap. He gets around to go into the Castro corner, and a wide they go. Wide line now opens it up into the rabbit's ear. Let's go on board as he starts the elevation up the rabbit's ear. Gonna take a quick sharp left here. Compromise the exit here as you get ready for the Budweiser balcony. Just look how wide you go in, late apex. Just compromise that exit to get high up to the Budweiser balcony. Fantastic view of everywhere, using all the ground and all the track you need into Monroe Ridge. This has had a lot of issues in the previous races in the last year, and you can just see that elevation change. It's a bit of a blind corner if you see the GTOs there, so just watch out. Wings leg done, and into this sweeper, and it's basically two right-handers. Hug it for the sweeper, and then turn 9, you want to just take it a little bit late. Don't get too aggressive on the throttle too much, you will go off. Had to fight that, did Jack Wells. He will come across the line. He really wants a decent time in the 1 minute. I'm pretty sure he is. It's a 1:1:456. Not where he wants to be first time out.
Only a few GTOs left to qualify, and Valenteus has just finally hit the grid for the first time, running his out lap. Much more challenging lap in this car to get around here with the all-wheel drive. You're going to have plenty of grip, and that might help on a track surface this old and the most longest continually serving racetrack in the United States. But in exchange, it doesn't look like he's going to get much out of his lap for now, as we just saw on screen. There's Valenteus' car running. Still not quite got a time lap on the board, but he may be able to get some in the 2 minutes 25 we have remaining, maybe 1 or 2. He is looking quite fast, though. Not going to go for the last to first challenge, unless this is just some practice time.
Yeah, maybe he does it. I don't know, but with 27 GTOs, it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. He'll come across. This is his first. This is going to start his first lap. We've seen Jack Wells in the GTPs. Villarolo, as you can see on the timing tower, is currently pole with the GTO. This is going to be the GTO lap here, and we're on board. Look at the fighting he has to do around the Castro corner. Then he opens it up, comes around, and now hits. And look at the control you have to have when it comes to this corner around Rabbit's Ear. Gets it, holds the throttle, waits for the throttle, gets on. A little bit slower compared to these GTPs, but now you really start to see that whole sacrifice the exit here when you come to the first part of the Budweiser balcony. Gets it beautifully. This is why he's a 9K driver for a reason. Holds it in and nice and tight down to the bottom of the Budweiser balcony. A little kink here and then into the Monroe Ridge. This is actually kind of deadly for the GTOs because they don't have that downforce, they don't have the aero, and you see him having to really turn in early. Almost had to do a little bit of a left here. He comes down the wings leg, and again, it is a slower time. Delta of 15 seconds between the two classes. Kind of normal nowadays for IMSA Vintage, but you just have to watch out. Goes wide around the final corner, turn 9. It's going to be tough. He needs a 14.7 if he wants to take the pole. It's very close, as you can see from the top two with Roller and Lundberg. He'll come across. He does not have time for another lap. It's all or nothing for Valenteus. He will come with a 1:52.15. That's a surprise.
I was just watching for the onboard for both of the cars, and the way they get unsettled at the top of the hill is going to really start to catch them out over the race distance as these tires get hot in the sweltering California desert with pretty much no vegetation around to absorb even an inch of the heat. It means that I think we're going to see this race slowly start to drag on these drivers, traffic or not. Even getting hot laps around here dialed in does seem to have been very much a challenge for some of these drivers, and I'm really quite scared for the upcoming race. The GTPs are outnumbered by GTOs, with a 27 split in the race, and some of them are already expressing their fears now as I speak. Qualifying's over. We have our starting grid for this race.
Yeah, we have our starting grid. Take your fears away and bottle them up for 40 minutes because we get ready. Name that we haven't said for a while at the top, Nicholas Makanos. Pole position in the GTPs. I'll have to look at the stats. I think that might be his first pole when it comes to broadcast. Christopher Lesniak picks up where he left off last week. He gets a really good P2. And Cal Young will be third with Brendan Lim in fourth. Shady Ahmad had a great showing earlier this week in the hot splits. He will be fifth with Jack Wells in sixth. And then it's Farron Grau in seventh. Sean Langton in eighth. Cyprian Delesculu will be ninth. Emerson Golden will round out the first page into 10. As we get to page 2, Hazel Sintet Galindo with an unfortunate 11th. Chris Zan will take 12th. Mateo Johnson 13th, with Aston Johnson in 14th. And Alan Sequeira will be 15th. Jessica Kadameric will take 16th. Christopher Bielu, I apologize for my pronunciations there, in 17th. Andre Felipe Diaz will take 18th, the last at the time qualifiers, with Stephanie Leslie, Lance Simon, your first at your non-qualifiers. Aki Anderson, Anton Lakea, and Flip Jetmar will be the last of your time qualifiers. 23 GTPs. What about those 27 GTOs, Howie? I think we've lost Howie just for a moment. So Ville Roller will take pole position. We're away from Noel Lundberg, and Javier Del Olmo will be third. Mickey Friesen will be fourth, because he said we need to learn how to qualify to Johan Van Hicks, who was fifth. Andreas Schuster will be sixth, with Doug Cloud in seventh. And then Valenteus in eighth. What a shock that is. Zoltan Deme will be ninth. Josh Brain will be 10th.
Top 17 of these drivers, only a single second between them. Kotsisala, sorry for somebody's pronunciation myself, up in 11th, with Romain Bello in 12th. Emilio De Chari sits in 13th, with Shemus Power in 14th, and Matthias Havdal in 15th. Borben Paulik in 16th, with Timothy Reed next to Sam Svorgard on the 9th row. Ian Haycock takes up row 10 next to Jerry Wilkstrom. A few more drivers to finish off the back of this pack. Jamie Hamill-Smith success to Martin Kredrick, with Tobias Ronner and Brandon White. On the last couple of rows here, Jan Ricklin, Yere Exposito, and Gregory Woods sits in the last place. Some of these drivers not setting qualifying times. Our pace laps are just about getting underway.
Pace laps getting underway, and there you see them. It's a full lap around the track here, which kind of helpful, because let's look at these track temps for a moment. 68 Fahrenheit, that's 20 Celsius. The wind, well, we'll have to worry about some wind, but it's 33 kilometers an hour north, which is very struggling. A lot of side winds happening out there today, and quite a lot. So just be careful. We may see a couple drivers just lose the rear a little bit when it comes to these sweeping corners. Taking it nice and slow out there today with these IMSA Hall of Fame Nissan GTPs. I don't think Jack Brabham ever drove one of these around here.
This is not a track with IMSA history, but at the same time, it feels so IMSA vintage to be here. Just, it's so in character to have a track like this, have these cars run through and around. One of the last times we were here was an endurance race. This will just be the 40-minute sprint as ever, and that race was absolutely full of incidents. And I don't know if I'll have any fewer in the shorter race distance. Drivers are going to absolutely claw and scratch for everything they can and more. Lots of very difficult parts of this track. Don't even mention those tiny little curves trick me every time I'm here. Makes me think that they're actually hospitable and helpful. You have nothing on the side of the track. You have cars very easily unsettled by the dirt. And I've heard drivers this week already identifying that even at high speed, a little dip in that Nissan will just send you around. And those Nissans are going to be running very, very loose trims to get the most speed out of here. So they might even be losing it where their high downforce helps them out in the first place. It's going to be a real struggle for everyone, but a struggle that everybody's in together with, I think.
Everyone hold hands, say your kumbayas, and get ready, because this is going to be a hectic 40 minutes as the pace car comes around the sweeper, and Nicholas McCannos will have control when it dips in after turn 9. And the pit entry quite late here, so we may see a pretty sudden green flag or a pretty sudden launch here from McCannos. Just remember, of course, now we've got the debris here. So if the drivers go off, they come back onto the track, that could produce a lot of issues with dirt on some of these runoffs. So just have to be careful. We've seen drivers in the past. They've had some moments going a bit wide and just going off into the barriers. Hopefully we don't get that today. Pace car is going to dart in. And very shortly, 40 minutes of Willow Springs will be here for IMSA Vintage. McCannos controls them and he waits. And he waits a long time here. Now he gets it going. And that could be a really good start here. Olesniak is not there. Olesniak is taking a pit lane start. So that allows Cal Young, Brendan Lim, Jack Wells to just keep going. To the inside goes Cal. And he actually gets an accidental hip check there to Lim, who's going to lose a couple positions. Everyone gets by cleanly, though. The GTOs are about to come down to turn 1.
It's been a fantastic start from Ruella. He's been able to just run away with the rest of the pack going too wide the whole way behind. No major incidents entering the start-finish straight as we start to file our way up the hill. Still Lundberg and almost side by side with Mickey Friesen trying to sneak in through a gap that isn't quite there yet, but Roller's just absolutely run away from the field. He timed his start, he didn't have control of it, of course the GTPs did, and he's got pace absolutely unmatched. It looks a little bit like Olmo is going to be able to secure that P2 for now as we make it over the top of the hill. Remarkably clean getaway from some of these drivers. I've not seen anything anywhere down the grid, but the first GTP is already snapping on the heels of this pack and is going to have to try and get through.
Yeah, on board with Valentez. Fulton Pollock unfortunately had a small moment coming down the balcony as we're looking at Olesniak. He's having to work his way through the field. Not where he wants to be. He didn't want to deal with traffic early, but he's doing pretty well. Half of the field he's already got by. Just a small hesitation there from Josh Brain. And now this is a precursor to what we're seeing. Kaczmarek has already towed and he's out of the race. That's our first retiree. As you start to see, this is really good from Olesniak getting by. We did see Emilio Dicciari earlier on making 2 places up so far. And now you just start to see a couple battles ahead there of Olesniak as drivers start to go side by side. Martin Krajcik, and then this is Valenteus now going side by side. They've got similar liveries, but look at Valenteus. He's really struggling. I say that, he's trying to go around the outside of the final part of the rabbit's ear, gets it stuck, but man, not where he wants to be.
Talk about a track where Aldis will use all of it and then some. Very few spots to really sneak in, so starting at the back of this field is a nightmare scenario in itself, but Christopher's managed to make it through, and that is an upside-down GTP right up against the wall. The 47 of Chris Jean looks like he just might have had a bit of an off under his own power. It did. Went wide at the very end, touched the dirt, and as mentioned, the car just seemed to lock up and go straight forward into the wall. No one else collected. The thing might even be drivable. No, there is a meatball flag for Zahn's car. He is going to have to repair that, and with no fast repair, he's going to have a very challenging run if he chooses to continue running.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be all for him. I feel we see Johan van Hicks getting some battling going early in the race. You know what he wants to do. He doesn't want to be losing position, but Mickey Friesen, Noel Lundberg having a little battle on Mickey Friesen. Get past Lundberg. They're going to go side by side. Valenteus and Van Hick going to go side by side. Let's have some 2x2 to start the race. It's only lap 3, guys. Take it a little bit easy. Almost touching is Van Hicks, and Valenteus gets it stuck. Really good from Friesen to around the outside there of the rabbits here to hold on to it. Valenteus, he wants some action. We're on board with Van Hicks as we see what's happening. nothing for Valenteus up the top of the hill, and he realizes might want to make a little bit of a move. He's already up to 3, but Nicky Friesen, he knows they've got to catch up to the leaders.
It was too wide on too wide going all the way up, and now we're running single file back down, heading down the rest. Still more GTPs just behind us. Ashton Johnson trying to cut through the field, and Felipe Diaz further back, also trying to make up some gaps, and this could interfere very much in this battle. Not seeing too many of these GTO drivers going for the outrageous sends. I'm seeing some movement from Johnson there in the back as he sort of tries to jostle all the way around. This back straight might be a good time to do it. Still cars running wide into the gravel over and over again through the back. The understeer's going to bite now. It's going to keep biting as we move on. I'm keeping an eye on Johnson here, still just trying to muscle his way around, looking left, looking right, not really finding an opening. If you know where the GTOs are going to go, it is predictable, but if you don't really quite know, it's very difficult to make a read on that on a track like this. So much of it's just so unconventional.
Yeah, so much, and that's actually caught Cao Young out. He had the lead just briefly as he crossed the line, but then got held up by traffic, did not know the right way around, and he's lost another position as Langton has overtaken him, and McCannos continues on. First time through the traffic is always the scariest time through the traffic, and all our GTPs are in that traffic now! Almost just going in there, he saw a gap, he thought he'd take it. The curves, as Howie said, was going to cause a little bit of an issue there. It did. Wide go Langton. He's going to have to just hold on a little bit. Apology from Lim. I think he almost went into the back there of Cao Young. It's tightening up so much. You need to take every space you can. Array again. Go Langton. But this is not something Young can take advantage of. The Chari goes off as well. He gets caught out by the traffic.
It's not where Langton wanted to go on the outside, and he very quickly realised he needed to change his mind. This start-finish straight is absolute calamity. This is like California traffic at its worst of times. Cars flying left and right around the Audi field. They haven't had a chance to properly string out yet, almost sending them free wide at times. It's hard to keep track of what's going on, but right now, Nicholas McCannos is currently still leading the way. That's 17, quite getting in the way of Langton, slowing him down a little. It's going to be a lot of cars getting in the way for quite a long time. I don't think there's any malice in quite getting out of the way. And in fact, Cao Young there just losing out, trying to sneak through the outside. Brendan Lim flies in from the back. It's so hard to work out when or where these drivers are going to make their moves. This might get a bit easier as the pack settles down, but for now, it's just a game of damage limitation as Langton has a big run here on Bucanos, and he might try and make something done if he has a clean run down this start-finish. A little bit of time to slipstream here.
Bit of an IndyCar weave, though, and Emerson Godin with an apology. Something's happened in the background for the GTP, but these are the three happening around there through the GTO traffic. Iker Costastalo, he is having to deal with more GTO traffic as half the GTP field has come by, and he's got Valenteus beside him. He's tried to give a battle. Pac-Man livery not doing him well there, and Valenteus goes on. That's Doug Cloud off. That's Doug Cloud. We're just going to see him just come back onto the field right there. Loses a few positions off there. He had a moment at the first corner, then the Castro corner. And now Cloud needing to work back, and this is Valenteus going, but we're going to get back to the GTP. Jetmar continuing his little battle here with Stephanie Leslie ahead. Eric Anderson right behind him, and Anton Laker. This is the P12 overall in the race.
Cars are jostling everywhere on the track. Cloud took contact from an approaching GTP. He was just able to keep it together. I'm seeing sorries flying left, right, and centre in this chat. I wanted to say it would die down. Maybe it won't. This is looking at Stefan Leslie for P12 with Jetmar behind over here, and they are just about making their space through. But I almost wonder on a pack this big whether these cars will ever be able to just like truly race each other in a duel, or whether every living second of their lives on the track are going to be defined by these Audis. Not a moment of break between them. It's behind. There's just two of those Audis going side by side, almost losing it as they have to let some of these GTPs through. As there's big contact ahead, that's the 15.
Oh, the big one!
The Batman car collected as well. Up the hill as they go wide.
Yeah,
Cloud again.
Yeah, it's Doug Cloud getting caught out there. Mateo Johnson as well. I think Mateo just slowed down a bit too much, or Doug just missed his braking. Bit of damage there. Thankfully, only 3 cars getting caught up in it. We keep our eyes on Leslie. Leslie does have a little bit of an issue. That's a lot of tow that he's having to carry on. I wonder if he does have a flag yet. He does not. Only Matteo Johnson catching the black and orange mechanical flag there as Leslie continues on. I think Leslie just got a bit too hot on the throttle. Keeps out of it, though. Matteo Johnson has indeed towed. So Leslie having to work all the way back up. Got as high as 12. Now down into 18th position. This is a Lesniak, though. A Lesniak, he's trying to make his way back through the field. Get past Anderson. He's 2 seconds ahead is Jetmar. Interesting stat here. The gap between Jetmar and the rest of the field, 15 seconds. That just goes to show how the back half of the GTP field did lose a lot of time for that first time in traffic.
Lesniak seriously checked up there by coming up against an Audi. I guess you really want to pass on the inside at a lot of these long sweeping corners. He is able to recover though, and looks like he's making up good time on Eki Anderson now. The 17 he comes up into. Feels like Audi's having to dive out of the way. It's pretty out of character for them. They're usually expected to keep their line, but I think they're about as scared as the GTPs around them. And at this point, they're just playing their own game for their own preservation. Now Anderson's being challenged by Anton Lakia behind. He's sort of lost that run further up the road. Here's the replay of the contact with Doug Cloud into the 43 and Iker Colasato in the 13. Just sent flying after one unfortunate checkup after another. Not the first of these incidents, I think, today.
Well, as we went to that replay, Sean Langdon had a moment out there and he lost control of the car, saved it, but he's all the way back down to ninth position. We're looking at Simon as he looks to keep on battling in 16th position, try to make some places up. He's already +4 for the day, and Sequeira right ahead, just a little bit of an excuse me around the traffic. Let's have a look at a GSRC replay, and I believe this is Sean Langdon. It looks like he just caught the curb, then caught the rear and got on the throttle as that gravel just set him going. Tried to fight it, not the best way to fight it, manages to keep it alive. Emerson Gordon, well, we haven't talked about him for a while back in the broadcast, and he's had a moment, and that's a change for the lead up ahead. Hello, Farron Grau, we've missed you.
That was another incident that started back on the back straight. Nicholas Makanos there runs into the back of an Audi. Looks like an Audi hits the curb, bounces off right into Makanos' way. It's quite unlucky, but it has opened up that position for Farron Grau. Makanos looks like he was just about scraped by that. By no means seriously knocked out. Now this is going to be a chase for the ages. He's already closed up the gap, and massive blocks of traffic have immediately dropped in place. We're going to begin this all over again. I don't think Nicholas is anywhere near done.
No, nowhere near done. That started as well with Roman Bello. This is Makanos with that issue as we just talked about. We'll see what happens here. Just have a little bit of a check up there. Yeah, not much he can do. The GTO just goes a little bit too far. Thankfully, though, as this is happening, he's retaken the lead. Grau having a bit of a hold up there because of Roman Bello just causing a blockage with a small mistake. And here they go. Halfway through the GTO field once again. Real good slipstream. Here comes Cal Young. We may go 3 wide for a brief moment. We do not. But something's got to give. Brain has to turn out of that corner, and Ferragamo holds on. Cal Young's here. It's a 4-car slamboree right now. Jack Wells right behind these 3.
This has turned from a 2-horse race very quickly to a 4-horse race. There's traffic everywhere. They're almost about to go side by side again. Farron Grau not even close to them, but knocked a little bit wide there. No contact, but he certainly reacted out of the way. A little bit of slip. Now, Jack Wells uses his chance, gets up the inside of Cal Young. He's going to take that one for free. Oh, they're getting this little bit of pocket now, this little bit of clean air. It's not going to last for terribly long. We'll see the Audis again, but for as long as it's here, these cars are going to duel until the sun goes down. Both cars approaching and passing Noel Lundberg quite cleanly. Big slipstreams down the start-finish. Both cars looking like they're keeping it together, but with a lot of Audis around, I think Farron could use his chance to strike. We're going to send it 3 wide, right around an Audi down the start finish. We're now going to go 3 wide with the Nissans. A little bit of a love tap. Hasn't gone too bad. They're holding it together. There's some incredible bravery from these cars today.
Incredible braving of Farron Grau. Still keeps holding on. Jack Wells, Cal Young trying to get around as well, and they do, and that's good to see. So they're just going to hold up, and you know that Farron's going to wait for a moment. He'll look up the field. Where's the next car to try and overtake? Oh, all the traffic's done. Once again, I'm on board now to side-by-side Valenteus, and Valenteus continues to, well, he's continuing to look for some positions out there himself. As you can see, he's got Schuster right behind. He's overtaken Schuster. He's a second behind Van Hicks and Mickey Friesen. All important. He's 3 seconds behind the leaders. We haven't talked about Billy Roller for a moment, but anything can happen as we see Farron Grau. We'll have another go to see if Farron can make a slipstream overtake this time.
These final few corners are downforce heaven, and the Nissans are loving every second of it. Cal Young looking to try and get slipstream run, and a heavy outbreak there. Not quite a dive bomb, nice alongside. Makes it into turn one, but these two are just, they're going to keep trading these places right until someone forces them to stop trading them, I think, back and forth every single lap. It's allowing this top two to get away, and Nicholas Makanos is going to enjoy just that small pocket of air behind him, but it seems like nothing is a guarantee. We're now coming up on slapped GTPs as well. Stefan Leslie and Christopher Ray Rideau in front of them. They've got blue flags. They're going to now let them pass. Now dealing with multiple layers of lap traffic as we approach the fast sweepers again, and every lap seems to be a chance to exploit a new opportunity that this traffic's creating.
Seamus Power with a overtake around the outside of Zoltan Demon, as we saw Cyprian. Unfortunate moment that caused him to tow the car. He might come back out, but he's going to be down a few places. Seamus in a GTO is something we've not talked about for a long time. You can see why, well, not you can't see why, but you can see the pedigree of driver. You can do it in a GTP. He's made that switch to GTO. He's not doing bad. Neither is Valenteus, who's right on the back of Johan Van Hicks right now. And it's a question of when, not if. And Van Hicks will have to try and defend the inside here into the Castro corner. He will. Valenteus, he won't go down without a fight. He's going to try us around the outside. And the camber does not work for him. Going to have to reset, but they're catching up to Javier Del Olmo.
They're going to be working perhaps as a bit of a train in order to try and make this one happen. Some clear out for the Audis. I'm seeing Van Hayes, I think, is not at all going to back off for even a second. He's just been riding that rear bumper, just absolutely intimidating the two car ahead. The one and the two in the lobby this time, both running at the GTO cars. So this is the absolute upper echelon of skill in this series. These cars certainly are, they're certainly going for it a whole lot less. They have to be so much aware of what's going on around them. But this clean run is letting them sort of test their lap times up against each other. This is going to be a real challenge of tyre heat as this race goes on. It's hot and sweltering as is. These cars are sensitive to slides. They're sensitive to building up the heat. And every lap just becomes harder and harder and harder for them. Valenteus will strike when the time is right, but you don't quite have the downforce to make incredible slipstream runs here. So very few hard braking zones either. So very much it's a game about just waiting for a mistake, which this track does tempt a lot out of.
Yeah. Oh, no! No, Cal Young into the back of Ian Haycock. You never want to see that. And that was one of those moments at the sweeper. Cal's going to take, well, Cal hopefully, or probably will take the blame. Ian has to take a moment. And I just wonder if that was Ian just going back to the racing line. It was Cal. Thought he could take that moment. And just for a split second, just realized there was nowhere to go. Ian is off. That's the second time he's been off this lap. Not been a good time for him. And that's cost a lot of time for Cal Young. He was right in the back of that four-car scrap for the lead. He's lost a lot of time. Farron Grau, he wants win number 3 on the broadcast. He's looking, and you can see he wants this because right now, on the back here of Mechanos, Jack Wells losing some time. That's a lap GTP on the high side, getting past, letting everyone go by. And Grau's is giving him a tap. Just come on, let's just get going. He knows he wants to keep going because Jack Wells, right behind them, we're in for another freeway dance.
That's repairs required for Haycox and a black flag on pit entry, but going wide there. Farron Grau's opened up the inside for Jack Wells. Grau touched the gravel a little bit on exit, and that gave Wells the clear run, diving up the inside of GTOs right now. no requirement to use the pit lane, but there can be some incidents that run right into it. It's very unusual how it just drops off the side of the track. That's a clear run there. Clear run, took advantage of a very simple mistake. And now the traffic is going to drop in to complicate the duel again. A black flag for Andreas Diaz as well. Plenty of black flags going around. I don't know how many of these might start to be racking up due to the incident counts. But for now, we run clean as it is. And we're the P1 and GTP here, Mukanos is adoring this 1 second gap he's built up. He's going to let these drivers battle among themselves, I think, as they dart around between Audi competition. Seamus Power, the next Audi in the way of this battle. These top drivers have been able to make it through relatively cleanly, but Seamus Power just in the way on the inside of entry for Ferran Grau. That's going to be a significant slowdown. The timing was just right for Wells to sneak on through before that inside line got taken.
Valenteas, he's still trying to make some positions up here. Pace has not been there today, but he's going to try and get by from Mickey Friesen. Gets by pretty easily as Mickey gets washed out on that high side of the Castro corner. Maybe he needs a little bit more oil out there, this Friesen, and get that power down. But here he goes, is Valenteas trying to catch up to Del Olmo. Roller, we've not talked about for ages. Mickey Friesen there. For a moment, I thought he had a mask on, but no, it's his microphone as he is streaming. He's got a new camera position, so I can no longer make fun of the exaggerated long arm that his gear shifter. Gonna have to find something new to make fun of him. I'm only joking. We do love him. Mickey Friesen now hopefully can try and catch back. He'd love to get back on the podium, but for that to happen, he's gonna need a little bit of help at the front.
Well, there seems to be absolutely nothing that you can guarantee on this track right now. Lapped Audis up in the way of Audis too. Del Olmo being slowed down as a little. And that's contact there. Yet again, Ferran Grau just goes into the side of him and sends him all the way off the track. Right off into the wall. And he's been touched a few Audis in that very same corner across the course of this race. He might be creeping up quite close to one of these penalty limits at this rate. There's no way this can keep going on. He's kept his pace yet again, but it's just starting to get precarious. Drivers doing quite a lot to remain in this battle and possibly just getting a little bit frustrated with each other across the board.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to get a look at that later when the action dies down, because that was Ferran Grau trying to go for the move past Valenteas, not realizing that they was having Del Olmo in front. Both drivers were trying to say, hey, we need to turn for this corner, and Grau went for the move, and there was a car in front, and unfortunately Del Olmo, hard contact, just lost it, all the speed onto the gravel, had nowhere to go but the wall. He has towed the car, and that is so unfortunate. I did say Mickey Friesen needed a bit of luck and a bit of help. That's not what I wanted to see, but this is the battle. Jack Wells goes a little bit wide this time, and 18 minutes and some change left in the race. Still about, well, 18 laps to go, I'd say, but he's just going to have to just wait again. And now comes that time where the field has started to spread out a little bit more, so pockets of GTOs they have to go through. Not a whole line anymore, just these little pockets. That's going to be very tough.
But the wrong time and wrong place, catching a GTO on this track just sends you as far back as coming across a whole pack. The Jack Wells has got this gap down on the leader significantly now. That's within less than a second. They're going to be dueling with plenty of time to come. And on screen now we have Noel Lundberg with Andreas Schuster too. Schuster looking pacey, looking like you're almost getting close to running into the rear. He certainly knows better, but every little corner here looks like it's fear in itself. More Nissans coming up to complicate this battle. These Audis are playing a bit more of a cerebral long game. They certainly are battling and they certainly are chasing, but with the lack of their mobility and the lack of their agility, they really are just trying to size each other out and wait for chances, whereas these Nissans are very much going full pelt from start to end. Lack of heavy braking zones on this track really means that this all-wheel drive Audi sort of just needs to ride around the track and wait for opportunities. You can't really make any big sends work out, certainly none that we've seen from this class so far, but it certainly is a struggle to get these cars around, especially as you hit the second half of that track and start understeering all the way off the circuit.
Yeah, no, Lundberg, he got that position through Schuster. Now looking to try and catch up, and he's got to find 5 seconds to the rest of the top 4. Well, the top 4 definitely, because they're still trying to catch up to Villarola, who's 3 seconds ahead of Valenteas. Never say never. And we see these 3 here. Never say never, but anything can still happen. And I've jinxed one man by accident, almost jinxed another. Valenteas, maybe he's just going to bring everyone along to the front with him. The Villarola's had a very quiet time out there. Not something we're used to saying. Well, usually when we say it, it's usually Valenteas who's had a quiet time out there, but it is that. Now, Josh Brain, he's not having quiet time whatsoever. Hadval gets around him through the end of the rabbit's ear. 3 wide very quickly as they go up to the balcony. Loses some time out there. Josh goes down a position to Mateus Hadval. Mateus goes +6 for the day. Josh Brain, a net 0. Not where he wants to be, but he's still in that top 10. Emilio Zacchari is right behind him, though.
Feels like every time an Audi tries to go too wide in the section, much like Josh Brain does, a Nissan comes up and you're blocking the entire track, and you can choose to force them to wait. That is the multi-class etiquette, but the longer you leave them, the more you think there might be blood in the water, blood in their eyes. So every opportunity has to be sized up and timed perfectly. But now, Josh isn't going to quite get the attack he wants, and he's going to need to wait out another opportunity with that traffic slowing down his attack.
Yeah, we did see Mechanos lost the lead to Jack Wells, and Ferret Grau's going to be battling, and now Ferron going to retake that lead, and Mechanos is going to try and take that P2 back, cannot. Wide goes these two just a little bit. What happened was around this time last lap, Mechanos had to try and pick the right way through the traffic. Did not work. Jack got a really good run, and Ferron just followed through. We go on board with the 007 camera. The name is Grau. It's Ferron Grau. He's looking for that 3rd win on the broadcast. He's still got 15 minutes to go, but the traffic ebbs and flows, and he's really struggling out there because maybe he's getting the worst of the traffic, but the best of the traffic this time. Look how wide Jack Wells went. Mechanos is just waiting for an opportunity. Not this time, but this one car from Shameless Power, that may just allow Wells and Mechanos to take a different line. That could compromise them. Ferron Grau is starting to get a little bit of space out there.
Last time we saw someone got some space, it was all over in just a few laps the moment you look away. But for now, Ferron Grau's enjoying what he has and is going to claim the presumptuous lead with Mechanos off his perch. But things have been changing and shifting every single second of this race. Further behind, Langton is side by side by Cal Young going up into that first turn. These Nissans, they're using the big slipstream run they can get down the start finish. It's really the only straight they have on the track, but they're making the absolute most of it. And then just trying to survive for the rest of the track, I think. I'm not sure that this has been a day of big sends. We've certainly not quite seen a protracted battle quite last long enough side by side, even though these cars are very capable of it. It's very much a game of being in the right position, right for the fastest part of the track. This whole field, though, has spread out. We've definitely seen the differences between drivers start to eventually play out after the chaotic openings. It has been a bit less chaotic than I reasonably expected. We've had our classic Camel incidents as ever, but people have started to learn to obey it pretty quickly, even on a field this large. I'm quite surprised to see that we've not been cutting to a replay every 30 seconds here.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have time. I don't think I'd have a voice left if I tried to go to the 15 seconds. Jamie Hamill-Smith is now looking to see if he can get 12th overall with Martin Krajcik right ahead of him. Krajcik +10 for the day. Hamill-Smith +8 for the day. And that's not a no qualifier. These two have made it through pace alone, and they did set a bad qualifying time. And you can just see Hamill-Smith not able to get on the brakes in time. So he'll just have to wait once again. He may try and dart it, but it's so tough to send it into these cars. Mechanos gets held up yet again by the traffic, and he's losing time, as you can see on the timing tower. Really good to see what's happening on this timing tower. The battles that we thought may come up later in the race might be coming up later in the race, because Valentea is still trying to catch up to Villarola. Not working for him, but Hamill-Smith, as you can see, just off that timing tower, still trying to work his way around Martin Krajcik. This battle for 12th, very important for him.
Over behind Romain Bello in the GTO. Just had a bit of a slip and lost some positions. Looks like he's been able to be joined without too much of an issue, though. It certainly is our closest battle of the moment, just behind Iker Callisto has been chased by Timothy Reed in much the same way. Hard to really choose where to put your attention here today. Hamel Smith holding off a good defense. Here's a GSRC replay from Shady Ahmad. Could be on a free wide, sent and not quite executed through the middle of Audis. That was always going to be a dangerous, scary move at best. And sometimes you go for it, and getting a bit pinched is a necessity. Jack Wells has eaten. So Jack Wells up the front has just eaten a required repairs flag. He's just bumped into the back of a spinning Nissan who just didn't hold the brakes, rejoined in the middle. His car looks okay, but iRacing says it's not good enough. And he's just been dropped out of this battle entirely. That has to be a heartbreaking way to finish these last 10 minutes of this race.
Well, I just went back at it. The car looks fine. And then you just see the wing on the back, get the spirit level out. Unfortunately, it's not straight. The unfortunate moment there. We'll get a replay very shortly. This gives Ferenc Grau a big gap now between himself and Mechanos. And there he is there. GSRC sticker on there. Very nice to see. Continues on by, and he's got 10 minutes to hold off 3 seconds on Nicholas Mechanos. Never say never. We keep saying it because never say never. Notice that timing tower in the GTOs, because Valenteus has just caught up into the slipstream of Villirola. The question is always, when does Valenteus make a move? Not if Valenteus makes a move. That's that gap there from Ferenc Grau. Don't need to take too many risks here. He's already had 1 GTO in his bad books and almost had another there. It's not Valenteus there with the blue and yellow. It is Fulton Pollock, though.
With the loss of Wells, we have seen this GTP field string out every gap within several seconds, but these Audis are going to deliver on the battling that we expect. Further behind, Hamel Smith is leading a 3-car battle over Timothy Reed and Iker Callisto as well. But up front, Valenteus is going to be slowly inching away at this time, I think, all the way up until the end of the race. Doesn't have too long to do it. On a track this short, he sure does have plenty more laps than you'd think. Going to need to have some excellent ones strung together, though, to make this one really work. The fastest laps between the two have been remarkably close. The last laps have not. Valenteus is making up time. Just crossing the line now so we can see how the last laps went for themselves. Still, almost a whole second in it. Valenteus gets clean air. He will go for this before the race is over.
Yeah, let's just wait. Aitor Sintet Galindo's got to go by Valenteus right now. There is Villirola in the number 5 car. We haven't seen him for a while. I have to check the stats because I know he has had some wins before. Yeah, he's 4th, all time. And the interesting status here, if Roller loses today, Valenteus joins him on 20 GTO broadcast wins from less races. This is Villirola's 98th GTO entry on broadcast. This is Valenteus' 28th. If Valenteus wins, they're both on 20 wins. Such is the nature of that man. But there are still other battles going on because Johan van Hick trying to just get away from the rest of the field. And he gets past Andreas, side by side with Noel Lundberg. Lundberg's going to get by. I thought he was trying to get caught up to Friesen. He can't. These two are going to have a nice little scrap here for the last spot before the podium, which is P4. Really coming together tight around, and Van Hicks trying to go around the outside. Not going to work this time. He just gets blocked off. Good defense from Lundberg.
Carl's almost trading paint, but they're keeping that space. It's just about respectful. Another tiny nudge between the two, but it almost feels like this is how they want to race. Van Hicks has the inside, and in fact, looks like a lap GTO behind Olmo almost took the opportunity as well. Not sure why Lundberg just seems to have dropped off quite a bit right after that contact. It's very minor. Now we have more GTPs coming through as well. This should be done pretty cleanly in this section of the track. Valenteus has been pulling this gap in bit by bit, and now within 3 attempts, it's going to be 2 soon, it's going to be 1 soon. I think a move is inevitable. Whether or not it works, we'll have to find out.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be this time. Valenteus waiting for his opportunity. 7 minutes to go. As we see other drivers in the radio just having some moments out there. Dechari still trying to battle on. But Valenteus, it's close. It's not that close when you get on the hood camera here. A little bit of an aerial antenna there, just blocking. It's feeling like a halo as he looks for moves. He can really get late on these brakes. You see that car was sliding a little bit under braking. Really tries to catch a man out there going up to the Budweiser balcony. Did not work, but it worked this time. Wide goes Roller. They're going to go down side by side. The inside does belong to Roller. Here they go side by side around Monroe Ridge. And Valenteus can't get this caught. And they're going to keep this going side by side. They come down. You've got Lesniak waiting. And that's Valenteus. A little bit of a mistake there. He realized the GTPs were coming by. He accidentally tapped Roller off there. Valenteus keeps that one, gets that lead. Roller, after all this time, finally is caught.
News from the GTP field here is that Sean Langton has gone around, no contact, tries to come up against the lap GTP of Felipe Diaz, swings his car to the side after a bit of a checkup going into one of the tighter corners and just sends it sideways into the dirt. Might have actually kept his position off the back of that, but any chance of him chasing for a position is over. And in fact, Brendan Lim is right on the rear of him, looking to make a chance. Meanwhile, still at the front of these GTOs, Valenteus now firmly in the lead, and with the pace he has, he's looking to secure this for the final few laps of the race. Whereas Villarola, he's been fast, but he's going to really have to look for a mistake, and that could have been the mistake. Valenteus goes very wide onto the gravel. Another move to the left to try and cover off Villa. It's not going to work. They're side by side. Valenteus on the inside. He might have the measure on exit, but now they're going to be dueling for this whole lap.
Yeah, they're going to be battling on. Now, what can Roller do as they come on down? And it's going to be a few laps to go. I wonder if they're going to go an extra lap out here today. Keep your eyes on that. Mechanos is catching up in the timing tower. You can see it. We'll get back to that shortly. This is the battle that's important. Who gets win 21 or who gets win 20? That's what we're looking at when it comes to the stat. And Roller's going to have to just wait because unlike last time, Valenteus gets a really good run out the final corner. Sean Langdon just goes, excuse me very much. The door opens up and Roller looks for it. Does not get it this time. He will have to wait, and through they go. Noel Lundberg as well. He's looking to get some battles. Leon Van Hicks will get that position, defend that position. It's all close to play for. Everywhere you look, there's battles going on. Battles on battles with 4 minutes to go.
A string of GTP traffic just cleared the two leaders. They have a bit of safe air for a while if they pull away. But I don't know where my attention's being pulled to first, because Lundberg's close, but so is Roller. And of course, Farron Grau, leading these GTPs, is actually under pressure from Mechanos. He's been reeling him in over the laps, and we're going to have battles going to the line all the way to the end. There's approximately 3 laps to go for GTPs, just a few fewer for GTOs. And I think that not a single one is going to give up an inch or a quarter here. All these gaps about within the same region right now, 6 tenths. Mechanos is going to need to get his speed on and very, very fast with very few opportunities. But looks like traffic being held up. Farron Grau up front. This might be a chance for Mechanos if this happens at the right place and the right time. Sometimes it just goes down to luck, how much traffic you're going to get caught by at the wrong times. Both just about cleared at the same rate, though. Behind in the GTOs, Roller still within 4 tenths. He's still fast, but his time's rapidly running out. They've got fewer laps to run.
Yeah, they got fewer laps to run. But remember, there's only 3 minutes left in the race with about 3 laps to go. We're looking at Iker Costasalo as he battles on against Jamie Hamill-Smith. He's just trying to find some place here. Not been the best of races for Iker. He's down 3 on the day. Jamie Hamill-Smith still up 8 for the day, but it could be a late surge here to get that position back for Iker, for the Finn. Not going to get it here. Going to look, but can't get it. And again, you keep your eyes on those timing towers. The lead battles are identical in as fact that they're under a second from one another. It's going to be a real big barn burner to end the race. We know who's going to be first and second in theory. We just don't know who it will be as Valenteus, he comes across one more time for his penultimate lap.
I think Roller's going to need to either pull something extraordinary or get a very, very good mistake made out of Valenteus. He's been very fast and very consistent to be on the rear bumper here of Valenteus, but Roller just hasn't had a massive run, hasn't had a massive opportunity. Now these GTPs crossing the line for what could be one of their final laps. It's not quite going to be theirs, but Lucanos still just all over. That is the best opportunity, that put us straight into turn one. If you lose that, you really need to get lucky throughout the rest of this lap. You have seen some side-by-side action between these cars, but there's always traffic in the way at the worst of times. These cars have been racing here just so brilliantly, and it's been a real test of patience and fortitude to even make it through without big DQs along the way. Both keeping it steady for now. These final few turns, turn sweeper and turn 9, are going to determine who has the advantage here. Lucanos, he's now got a quarter alongside. He's pulled the inside. This is the best line to be on going on to this start-finish. Audi right in the way is going to split the difference. Baron Grau makes a move to get out of the way, and that's a lead change at the last second. Big wrecks ahead, both able to avoid it. They keep it together. We're still running. This might be their last lap. 40 minutes to go, 40 seconds to go. I apologize for them crossing the line. I'm terrified it was another 40 minutes. And Lucanos might have just made the move we needed to at the perfect time to secure this win.
Might have made it the perfect time. These two, they know the leaders are going to be right behind them, so they have to get on it now because they realize this is the final lap for these two as well, and both battles going to come together at the line at the very last moment. What does Willow Roller have? He's a legend when it comes to IMSA Vintage, and he's fighting the alien, and that is such a tough battle. You've got drivers who are just going to be their lap cars coming by. Mechanos is going to be right behind them, 2 seconds behind. It all comes down to, does Mechanos hold on? He can't hold on for too long in these battles. Maybe he gets to them at the very last moment. And Mechanos, with a little bit of a moment, he's had to get on the brake. He gets on the brakes. This should be a drag race to the line. But Ferragamo goes wide. And it's going to be Mechanos to win the GTP. And Valenteus does not get it. He's going to have to go around one last time. But we know who's won the races. Mechanos in the GTP and Valenteus in the GTO.
Valenteus having to almost do one more lap out of pity, given that some of these other drivers didn't just get their checkered flag behind him. They really kept us breathing until the very end. This was so much a race about being at the right place at the right time and just making sure that those 1 or 2 chances you have to make the move, they are executed flawlessly. I'd have to say they've kept it together a lot better than I thought they would have throughout this race. I was almost expecting the scariest race in history. Instead, we've just had class action across the field and battles in both classes all the way to the line. This is final lap getting finished here by Valenteus. I believe there's nothing else in it for him, and he will be claiming a very hard-fought GTO win.
Well, for Nicholas Mechanos, it's going to be win number 4 on the broadcast for Valenteus. He joins Willow Roller 4th all-time in the standings with his 20th victory in GTOs. And when you add that to his victories in GTPs, that now gives him 43 broadcast victories across both classes. You've got to give a shout out to Willow Roller, though. For so long, he's been that man up there. 20 wins, 4 full-time. He's got some company. Welcome to the 20 club. Andreas Valenteus. Mickey Friesen will come across as well. A well-deserved P3. I did say he needed a bit of luck. He got that bit of luck. Wasn't where he wanted it. They're going to do a little bit of celebrations here. There they go as they say goodbye. And with that, we will get down to the final stats of Mechanos just doing some donuts at the final line. Pace car was not needed today as Mechanos unfortunately just runs out of time with his donuts, but it is Mechanos to win the race overall with Ferran Grau, who does own up to his mistake earlier with Javier Del Olmo. He'll come home in second, and Cal Young will be third. And then Sean Langton, a very surprised P4 there, getting ahead of Brendan Lim in fifth, with Emerson Golden up 4 places today into sixth. Shady Ahmad was 7th. Aitul Sintes Galindo, quiet race for him, was 8th. Christopher Lesniak, give him some credit. he finishes a lap down. He started from the pit. A very good P9 with Edke Anderson in 10th. Anton Laker will be 11th. He was also plus 11 today. Lance Seaman will be 12th. Alan Square will take 13th, and it's Stephanie Leslie in 14th. These are the cars a few laps down. Christopher Ray Blue, I believe, retired early in 50. Jack Wells, we saw that retirement in 16th. Chris Lan was also 17th. Andre Felipe Diaz was 18th. Philip Jetmar will be 19th. And Cyprian Delescu, we did see he retired on his roof in 20th. 3 more retirees, which was Ashton Johnson, Matteo Johnson, and Jessica Kazmarek was the last of the retirees. We didn't have that many retirees in the GTOs, though.
And indeed, and Andreas Valenteus has the unique honour of getting to do an extra lap to finish his race as he finishes in P1. Villarola kept him close to the end in P2, and Mickey Friesen rounds off the podium in P3. Joran Van Hicks only finishes P4 with Noel Lundberg in 5 and Andreas Schuster in 6th. Seamus Power makes it to 7th, while Matthias Hadbar makes it to 8th. Zoltan Deme makes it to 9th, and Josh Brain finishes 10th. This battle got really close between these few GTOs at the back. He just about edges out the Chari, Credrick, Hamill Smith, and Cotti Salo. And then further behind, the gaps expanded out a bit more with Timothy Reed, Paulik, Svogard, Bello, White, Wickstrom, and Javier Del Olmo. Still a few more drivers, very few retirees, only 2 really failed to make it the distance, as Jan Rickman finishes 22nd, Tobias Ronher finishes 23rd, Gregory Woods finishes 24th, Doug Cloud finishes 25th, and 2 not finishing the race at the back, Ian Haycox and Gary Exposito.
Well, that was our drivers, and we're just going to wait to see if we do get anyone to come in to say hello. The broadcasting door is open as per usual. I need some cold air. It's just a little bit warm out there today. Just give me a good time, though, to talk about how next week we get ready for some more action, because when we get ready next week, it will be Thruxton. So we've gone from tight and twisty to tight to absolutely tiny out there. So that's going to be a very fun track next week. The first time they have been to Thruxton, it's going to be chaotic. Don't miss that out there today. Howie, first time in the booth. Once again, you have witnessed some IMSA Vintage. What was the surprise out there for you today?
Well, as I mentioned a few times, I just thought this would be one of the scariest, most hair-raising races in history. And yes, there were incidents, and yes, there were cars going into others. I mean, P3 and the GTPs might be a little bit sad that he did take out a GTO in the process, but all in all, fewer retirements than I expected, especially among the GTO crowd. A lot more close racing, a lot of traffic being navigated properly. Drivers must have been using this week to learn how these cars tackle it around here, because I saw plenty of incidents rack up earlier this week, and then for broadcast, they kind of put on their best behavior for us and put on their greatest show as ever. This is by far one of the hardest series to jump into for the first time, I must be honest, but just keeping your head in it here is no harder than keeping your head in it out on the track.
Well, we do have one man. It's been a while since I get to talk to him. It's Aitor Sintez Galindo, up 3 places today to finish in 8th. And Aitor, that looked very chaotic out there. 50 cars around Willow Springs always sounds a bit tough. It looked like it was quite a battle out there today.
Well, your predictions are absolutely correct. Yes, it was indeed chaotic, and actually I expected a bit more of attrition, if I'm honest, because when there's a race like this, 50 cars at Willow, it's at least 5 or 6 cars I get over them. But well, it's been it's been a little bit a lot of stuff going on, but I think I'm satisfied with the result nonetheless. I mean, I survived. I think I don't take this thing for granted anymore, but yeah, I should take it. So yeah, top 10, B8, and yeah, had good fun with my teammate as well, having talks with him, trying to win the race. So yeah, good win. Sorry, wait, yeah, I wish good week.
Yeah, I'd love to see you get back in the winner's circle, definitely. Remember, 13 wins. Farron was looking for his 3rd win, so that would have been good to get both on the 3 out there. Traffic, though, around today, we always know ourselves, very tough on those final sections out there today, but it looked like a lot of the issues out there today was the start of the track for the traffic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very peculiar track with regards to traffic because, well, at first it's short, so it's 1 minute, 1 minute per lap, which is a lot of traffic, and 50 cars doesn't help, obviously. And also lots of Nissans who either had the incidents or had to pay it, and also involved a lot of traffic with the lap Nissans as well. Somebody pinged me. I think it was Alan. It's been a lot of. You have to be very careful. That's for sure, because it's. You always try to predict, but not always the case. For example, Ferrano also had. I also had. We thought that Audis were going to track out in order to take the last corner, and it was not always the case. And it was like, we're gonna send it on the inside, and it was not the case because they were trying to, I don't know, either track inside or give us way. We don't know, but. It's tough. Anybody who finished this race without many major incidents, I think they should get that pat on the back, because this is a very, very challenging track for these cars.
And to be fair, we got to pat you on the back very soon. This was broadcast race 215 for you. That now puts you 2 behind Lars Olsen for second most broadcast races in the GTPs. This going to happen this season, Aitor. I know you haven't thought about it. I've caught you off here.
You caught me on guard, Craig. I'm not gonna lie. Now that you mention it, I'm definitely gonna try to overtake Laos. Laos, if you are there on vacation, you can keep it on yourself, mate. I will take the second play for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if there's any men that deserve to be at the top there, Lars Olsen, Aitor Sintet Galindo, and Fabian Jungbluf, the 3 Iron Men of the GTP. It will be great to see that when you hit that moment there. It's always great to see it, Aitor. Before we let you go, any shout-outs for the day?
As usual, thanks, guys, for the broadcast and interview. Thanks for watching, and shout out to Ferran. It was close, mate, but we'll get it next time. So, thanks, guys. See you next week at Thruxton.
We're at Thruxton, and the there will be there. We'll get ready for that. Thank you very much, Aitor, who finishes in 8th position for the day. And that is going to be everything we bring you. So once again, a thank you to the team. It is Howie, it is Daniel, and it is Dougie. Now, of course, make sure to check out our social media and our merchandise stores. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because you don't really want to miss any more moments here on GSRC. Right now, GSRC is live with the PT Autosport on another broadcast. But our next race, next week, April 5th, it's Thruxton. And an important note for you Europeans, that's me. The clocks go forward tomorrow, so remember that will be an hour later. So do not forget that. But of course, next for the GSRC, once PT Autosport and Thruxton is over, look at that, Skip Barber. That's going to be tomorrow. And then we've got the classic Lotus Grand Prix to end the weekend, and another broadcast just there for the rest of the week. So you don't want to be missing any of those. Well, today it's the first time I've seen that all classes and all the battles ended at the same time. One name still remains on top, it's Valenteus, but one man returns to the top, Nicholas Makanos. When we head to Thruxton next week, anything can happen, just like anything can happen here, because this is Vintage, IMSA Vintage. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.